for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ian. Great
Yeah,
to be here.
no problem. So, in a few minutes, would you mind just telling us about yourself and what you do?
Sure. My name is Jeremy.benisrael, and I'm with Ascentropy Business Solutions. What I do is I help companies save money, lower their costs, reduce their expenses. Um, in every, I help businesses in all industries uh, with a primary focus on restaurants and the hospitality sector. Um, but also manufacturing, medical practices, um, businesses like that in those industries. And this is all done on a contingency basis. There are no upfront costs, no risks, and very minimal effort involved with the prospect or the client. That's in a nutshell.
How'd you start?
Well, I looked at 3 years ago, I wanted to branch out. I've worked 25 years in different corporate roles. And I, towards the end of that, I kind of had my foot out the door already. And I was looking to do something entrepreneurial. I always had that spirit. And I looked at different opportunities, including buying an established business, looking at franchises. But then I saw the cost reduction business model and was really attracted to that. The idea is that there's nothing to sell. On the contrary, you're offering a service to enable businesses to recover money. You're giving them money, you're not extracting from them. So the objection, we don't have the budget, or this is too more than we thought we would want to pay for it, that doesn't apply. You know, that's something that I really liked about this. Now, it is a complicated sales cycle. You're not selling a widget to a household or family-run business. Typically, these are middle market, mid-sized businesses, 50 employees and up, $1 million in sales and up, ideally bigger than that, where you can really create beneficial saving opportunities. You can find opportunities in most of the expense categories in the operating expenses of a business.
And how long have you been in the business?
3 years.
3 years. Okay. And how has the start been? So when you started your own business, how did you get your name out? How did you market initially? How'd you get the ball rolling?
Well, I was derailed half a year of those 3 years selling something different, HR products, accounting, bookkeeping services for the small business. And I was doing pretty well with that. But then I had a falling out. It was a local operation. The owner and he did some unscrupulous things, unethical things. And, you know, I couldn't work with somebody like that. But I did learn a lot and about selling. And I actually was starting to do very well. So that taught me that I can do this. Of course, prospecting, doing outreaches and proposing your services to larger companies with multiple decision makers is a different game. It's the same idea, but it's just a lot more complicated and a lot really more difficult to get all the logistics together.
What do you think sets you apart from others?
Me, I would not be naive to think that there aren't others that do what I do, but I do belong to a very good group that offers services that other cost reduction advisors do not have. In addition, I am honest, ethical, I just want to do what is right for the client, for the customer, and sort of a fiduciary type of relationship, always doing things on behalf of the client. What sets me up is myself, my personality. I come from a analytic, quantitative background. I've always been a numbers guy, and I can identify saving opportunities. And it hurts me to see that businesses, even households, I apply this to my own house for my family. It's overpaying when you don't need to. And customers are not aware of it, or if they are, they may not be able to do anything about it. They don't have the time, the resources, the patience. Think of being on with customer service or customer support, but let's say customer service hours being put on hold, and then talking to people that don't really know what they're doing. And that's what it is. So I work with a team that negotiates with the vendors on the client's behalf. And also the idea is to not switch vendors, but to keep the incumbent, keep the current vendor, especially if there's a long-term relationship already there, just to improve the terms of the existing agreement.
So what attracted you initially to this specific industry as opposed to others?
Well, again, it's the business model of not selling anything, but providing information, educating the public, the business owner, what is available, what options they do have, and then helping them. It's sort of like finding financial justice when you know that vendors are really taking advantage of their clients. And these vendors are in business too. So let's, it's not, I don't blame them, but if they do things like increasing their rates unannounced, or increasing rates excessively, or any kind of practice like that, it's not right. And it happens all the time.
Right.
So what attracted me to this? It just seems like a really good business model that I could flourish in.
Yeah. Did you have any obstacles when you were joining the business, when you were starting your own business, as opposed to transitioning from a guaranteed salary to a more risk-based salary because you have to perform? Like, do you have any obstacles mentally or physically?
Oh, I was ready. In terms of obstacles, of course, when you do branch out on your own, you have to, as a solopreneur, you wear many hats, and you have to do everything until you get to the point where you scale up, you're able to outsource things, hire assistants, etc. It's still very difficult. I'm still looking for the right support and the right partnerships and things like that. But when I started, mentally, even emotionally, I knew that I couldn't go back. And that's a nice thing to, maybe not nice. It's not comfortable perhaps, but I knew that I did not want to go back. And if I ever did, then it would be a failure on my part to go back to corporate, going back to that grind.
Why do you feel so strongly about your business?
Because I feel like I wasn't appreciated, and I wasn't, I didn't grow in the corporate structure as much as I should have. I saw people getting promoted, advancing, and it somewhere along the line, it hurts. Your psyche gets hurt. I'm more capable than many other people that bypassed me, climbed the ladder, a lot faster. So from that point of view, it just, I knew that I did need to make a change. And I've always wanted to make a change. And I do have side businesses and projects and investments, So this is not what I'm doing full time, but it is my business. And if I do not work at it, then it will cease to be a business.
Right.
As Kevin O'Leary in Shark Tank says, if you're not making money, it's a hobby, right? So, yeah.
So what did you learn about yourself through the process of starting your own business over the last 3 years?
I grew a lot. My wife can attest to the fact that I've grown not so much in my business skills. I mean, obviously that has been there too, with self-development and reading sales books and things like that. But I've just grown and matured with a positive mindset, with a emotional intelligence, so to speak, like being able to be sympathetic to others. Not that I wasn't before, but from a professional point of view, it is something that I've really matured, and I see that about myself.
That's wonderful. And what are some of your biggest accomplishments within the business?
Helping until now smaller businesses, such as a chiropractic office, with their printing costs. One small example, I've helped to modernize another local business here in Florida with their paper records, just digitalizing, putting things and automating some of their processes. That's a indirect cost savings. Making a process more efficient saves time, obviously money as well, by reducing staffing required to support, the the antiquated ways of how they were handling things. So it feels good to be able to help businesses like that. And the smaller business, as a percent, they're more impacted by this economy. I'm now helping restaurants, and restaurants are hurting, just as an example, not because there's not demand for their food, for their services, but they don't have the staffing to support that demand. So a lot of restaurants are, staff does not show up. What do? You have to work limited hours. You have to close, minimize your menus and things like that, which restaurants are doing from necessity with this economy. But the labor market created such a shortage that I am able to help restaurants. And with the cost savings, it's not just looking at vendor-based expenses that businesses have, like wireless, utilities, their merchant, credit card processing fees, linen, laundry service, commercial industrial laundry service, something that you wouldn't think of that a business can save a lot of money in. But there's also a service very timely where I help not just the employer, but their employees, their staff, by providing their workers a flexible payment structure where they can not have to wait till their next pay period, their next check, but they can get paid that same day and even take advances off of their existing accumulated wage. So that's a very good service for the employees, and it helps the business owner hire and retain their staff.
That's valuable. Do you think that the staffing shortage was mainly caused by COVID initially, and that people were getting off work and receiving pay?
That's a very good question, and I think that more will be proven with time. That's a great question. I will say yes and no. I believe that trend started pre-COVID, but COVID just expedited that. So this great resignation would have been, good resignation, not good. It would have been a minor micro version of that, but it would have happened. It just with COVID, the lockdowns, the pandemic, it just created a complete turmoil in the labor market, and unfortunately, many businesses had to close, declared bankruptcy, and are not the same. They've either had to adapt or close completely. More so the mom and pop, the smaller businesses, and I'm talking about restaurants, but it applies to other industries. The chains were more immune to withstanding this pandemic.
Right. That's right. So throughout your journey transitioning to being an entrepreneur, and during your journey now, are there any leaders or entrepreneurs that you looked up to as inspiration to make the move and the adjustment that you did?
Quite a few. I've learned from. I don't even know where to start, but yes, I've learned, I've read, I've followed quite inspirational leaders. I love some of the sayings Jim Rohn or Rome, I'm sorry, or Brian Tracy or people like that, Jim Brown. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few. I don't even know where to start.
Did you experience any periods of doubt where you didn't know if it was going to work out or not?
I still do.
You still do. Yeah.
If I don't hustle, I can take a day, a week, a month off. Yeah, then there won't be much of a business.
Right.
I have to keep going. I'm not at the point where I can walk away from it and have it be self-sustaining.
Right. So what is your biggest business insight or financial lesson so far that you've learned throughout your years involved in the business?
The biggest business lesson or insight, I would say, I was just talking to somebody right before this interview. I would say that until a prospect signs on the document to become a client, to start the onboarding, it's not closed. And I've had too many, not many, but one is too many, where a client, a prospect agreed to a meeting and did not show up, ghosting, so to speak. And I've had that several times, and not even having the courtesy to respond and say, I'm sorry, let's reschedule, something came up. I'm almost not expecting it. Sort of like a job interview where they don't owe you anything if you did not get accepted. So no news is bad news in that case. With prospecting and setting up appointments, until something is signed and official, it did not happen. So that's one lesson with people that are looking to go into business. It's difficult, the sales cycle, but until it becomes official, it's the bird is not in the hand.
Right. What legacy do you want to leave behind?
I have one daughter, and I would love to have a business where she could take over if she wanted to. She would have that option. But I really just want to teach her to do right, to treat people with respect, with admiration. You could learn from anybody. Somebody down on their luck, homeless on the street, you can learn from that person. I mean, I just want her to, I want to leave the world a better place than I entered it. And I want her to have that same philosophy, that same line of thinking.
That's great. I think people can see that, especially when you're offering services. People want to trust who they're working with. And as long as you have their best interest in mind, over time, your business will really grow faster because of referrals, or people will like you and know that you're being honest. Yeah.
That's very important. It's not enough to, the know, like, and trust. People that are more refined can become likable, but trust is something that is built up over time. It's not something you can buy. It's not something you can just have happen. It takes some time to establish that.
Right. Are there any causes that you care about most, like in philanthropy?
I like to see pets, dogs, cats, little children get equal rights, get opportunities that the less fortunate, do not have. I'm right now volunteering for my local Jewish religious organization or institute with food donations from a local grocer. Now that kind of dried up a little bit with some of the turmoil in the food supply, but every week I go and pick up and then distribute it or have other people distribute. But I'm part of that chain, and I think it's very important to give back. And I wish I had more time to do a lot of the things that I do want to do. We have one child who's now away in college, so we're empty nesters. So I'm looking to join like a big brother, big sister type of organization, and be a mentor, to somebody that is desperately needs it.
You have a lot more time on your hands now because the kid is in college.
She was not the problem. Being overwhelmed on my business is taking on a lot of different things. That's my problem.
You mentioned animals. Do you guys have any pets yourself?
Oh, unfortunately, my wife is allergic. So the option would be to have a hypoallergenic, allergenic, like a dog or a cat.
The first way you said it was the right way.
Hypoallergenic, yes. Yeah. So it's the dander. It's not even the fur, but the furrier they are, the worse it is for my wife. I grew up with dogs, with cats even. I love them both. I would prefer dogs, but if you have to choose, but I love them both. And now without my daughter, ironically, we may get probably not. I'd have to convince my wife, but I would love to have one.
Yeah. So what is a message you'd like to leave with the audience? It could be anything.
Okay. I guess sticking to the topic, I would say I realized this later in my life, but for somebody that has any doubts, first of all, believe in yourself, that with hard work, working smartly, having some luck along the way, but applying yourself, learning every day, you can do basically anything, realistically, anything that you want to do. And if you want to venture out, if you're not happy, maybe the biggest lesson is if you're not happy doing what you're doing, look for options. You may have to do what you do to pay the bills, to survive. And many people are in that position, unfortunately. But if you do have the options, look at what's available, look at what the opportunities are right now with online work and opportunities. It's never been as good of a time to start your own business or to develop side projects. And there's no excuse not to if you have the means. There really isn't.
It's never
So
too
I would
late.
say go for it.
It's never too late.
Just do it. Nike, just do it. Yes,
Yep.
it isn't. It really isn't.
All of the anxiety in starting a business or starting anything, whether it's starting working out again, it's very similar in the sense just getting the ball rolling and going and just getting up and going. That is where people have the most anxiety, and anxiety translates into procrastination. I mean, I read somewhere that if you think of something that you'd like to maybe do, let's say, maybe I want to do my laundry right now, I don't feel like it, or maybe I should go for a run. You have around 3 seconds to get up and go do it before your brain tells you, no thanks. So you have to, like you said, just get up and go do it.
Overthinking is a killer. And I'm an analytical person. So I always analyze something to death. Sometimes in a ladder, the first step is the hardest one to take. By the way, I said Jim Brown. Why am I thinking football? Les Brown. That's who I meant to refer to. So before. But yes, exactly. If you think about something, we were on vacation in Mexico. There was, I forget exactly where, there was a beautiful pond with overlooking kind of a cliff, not even that tall, maybe 20 feet, 15 feet even. It wasn't even that high. And my wife and I are looking at the edge, looking down and thinking, all right, let's do this. Let's jump. Other people were jumping. Well, let's jump. Then we looked down, and the more we thought about it, we ended up not jumping. And not just one very small example, but I regret that day of not just not taking the leap.
Yeah,
Literally jumping and think, it's sort of like ready, fire, aim. Take action. If it's not the right action, that's okay. It's a learning opportunity.
yeah, exactly. I always feel same example, cliff jumping. If I don't do it that day, I always feel so bitter. Like, damn, I really should have done that.
Yeah. So you don't want to live life with regrets.
Yeah.
You want to leave everything on the table or the field or whatever whatever it is you're doing.
I think people's fitness journeys are very similar to the rest of their journeys in their life, where it's sometimes, training is hard and it's painful, and sometimes taking the time to perfect your craft is not the most fun experience in the world. But at the end of the day, if you have the desire for greatness, if you don't take the step in that moment, you're going to feel bitter and it's going to grow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Jeremy, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. You have a very transparent insight on business and just as a person, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Ian, for the time, and I enjoyed this. And if it can help somebody, then it was well worth it.
Yeah, of course. I'll send you everything soon, and all of your information will be provided in the description of the video. So thank you so much again, and you have a great weekend.
Likewise, Ian, all the best. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.